Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Small Business Development Workshop, something brand new for 2021, brought to you in part by the Illinois Small Business Center, Development Center, and also 94.9 WDKB. Something new for 2021, all kind of in the same boat. So we thought that during the lunch hour at certain times throughout the year, we're going to get together and we're going to share common stories and see what everybody is doing, since we're all kind of on the same right now as we navigate into a brand new business year in 2021. So my name is Steve Simmers, moderator for this event with 94.9 WDKB, and Sean Lowe is here as well. I thought it'd be great to start off by going around our roundtable of guests and our panelists and to find out who they are and where they work. So we'll start off with, how about you, Dr. Jock? We'll go there first.
Good afternoon, I guess. My name is Jock Sommese. I am actually Harriet's lackey. I am a advisor and mentor at the Small Business Development Center at Waubonsee Community College in partnership with Kishwaukee College.
Glad to hear today. How about you, Harriet? Let's start there. We'll go there.
Sure, Steve. My name is Harriet Parker. I'm the manager of the Illinois Small Business Development Center at Waubonsee Community College, one of 40 Small Business Development Center locations across the state, and also working, as Jock said, in partnership with Kishwaukee College.
Welcome. And Sean, let's go there to there.
Yeah, I'm Sean Lowe. I am the program director here at 94.9 WDKB Radio in DeKalb, also the midday host from 10 until 2. I'm in the studio today, so in between running around between the studio, we're going to participate in this small business roundtable today.
Welcome, Sean, and let's go to Garrick.
My name is Garrick Cline. I'm the owner and founder of Mellow Mammals. We are a CBD pet products company, Chicago-based, and we're out of Genoa, Illinois.
Thank you for being here. Norm?
Yeah, Norm Johnson with Independence Renewable Energy. We are a solar energy system installation company along with electrical contracting. Our office sits on Route 34 right in the middle of Sandwich, Illinois.
Wow. And Chris, you'll be our last one.
Nice. My wife and I own a local hot sauce company. We make a line of fresh and spicy pepper sauces that are designed to inspire creativity in the kitchen and support local farmers.
Wow, a lot of diversity, which is great for this discussion today. So the first question that I'll have, and I'll throw out there for anyone to answer, and feel free just to chime in when you have something to add. The thought about going out on your own as a business owner, a scary moment for a lot of us. Maybe how you came up with that decision, why you came up with the decision, and maybe some of the challenges that you faced right away for any new businesses are taking today.
Well, mine might be a little unique in that it was driven a little bit by some health concerns that came down the pipe at me, which caused me to be on disability from a bit from my previous career. And it all kind of evolved into, well, if there's ever going to be a time of change in life, now might be a good opportunity. So I decided to pursue going out on my own. I was doing pretty well, I think, working for other people and making them some money. So I thought I'd give it a shot with having absolutely no business experience. So a lot of that is what has me sitting here today with the relationship with the SBDC.
Garrick, would you like to go?
Yeah, I guess I would second that. As a matter of fact, not so much that there was an injury or anything, but I currently work a full-time job as well. I'm building this on the side, and everything's pretty much labor related. And when I was younger, that was a pretty cool thing. And as I get older, it's you pull your back getting out of bed. So just kind of looking for something that would give me a little more freedom over my time to spend with my family, and not that owning your own business gives you free time, but maybe give you a little more control over how you spend that time. So
I was going to agree. I think I definitely work a little more than I used to when I work for somebody else, but I definitely like having the responsibility. I imagine most people in my industry have a similar situation where you have a product and everyone tells you it's so delicious you should bottle that stuff. So that's pretty much where we got started, at least a couple of years before we actually launched it.
I mean, and Harriet and I are both entrepreneurs, I mean, in our past and in our current. And I was the reluctant entrepreneur. I never wanted to work for myself. My father had his own business, and I saw all the hours he put in and that kind of thing. But the journey kind of took me here. And you know, now that I'm doing that as well as this, what I like to give to our clients, like Garrick, is not to make the same mistakes that I made, because I made plenty of them, and it's not fun sometimes. So,
And I'll just chime in that I've been in small business for virtually my entire career, 30 plus years in some capacity or other. We have a family business now that we've had for 15 plus years. So I just love sharing my experiences and history with the clients that we serve.
Wow, great, unique stories for each one of us. So I guess when you start business, anyone who's watching and thinking about, I think I want to do that. I'm at that point as well, like maybe Norm, where I want to do something on my own. Where do you get the capital or contacts coming from, and where do you start? What would you recommend for somebody just starting out for the very first time?
Well, probably not do what I did, that's for sure. You know, again, just kind of threw it out there and pulled the triggers, completely self-funded. Even to this day, granted, you know, a line of credit here or other things there, but completely bootstrapped it, if you will. And the big thing for me at the beginning, and again, learning as you go, that I found out that I should have asked for help a heck of a lot sooner. Right? You don't know what you don't know. So before you find yourself all of a sudden neck deep and you don't know which way to turn. But figuring out your role early on and then looking for people to help with the stuff that you're not good at is a valuable piece of advice that I learned probably not to a couple of years I was into it already.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that wholeheartedly. You know, for me, kind of starting this business, kind of like raising kids in a way. You can prepare for it, but you're never really prepared. I wrote a bunch of stuff down. I'm like, okay, I put money on credit cards to start bootstrap, which is not something I recommend either. But you know, you never really think you're ready, and you just do it, and you kind of figure it out as you go. And that's where, luckily, ran into the SBDC and Jock, Dr. Jock Sommese. And that's been a big help for me personally. So
I did hours and hours of research. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I literally was going around to stores and looking at shelves and comparing and taking notes, and with no marketing experience or no business experience whatsoever, just trying to figure out in my mind what made a quality product. What did it look like? How did it sell? Where was it on a shelf? What stores carried it? Go to the internet. What are the stories of some of the other hot sauce companies that have been successful? What's Tabasco's story? What's Cholula's story? And then hours of endless research. And honestly, I still look at it like it's a learning thing every single day of my life. I had zero experience in business. And so hopefully I'll know more by tomorrow than I knew today. And that's the way we treat it. We're always trying to take classes. We're always trying to educate.
Well, Chris and Garrick, I think you guys kind of walked us right into a next question here. So we'll throw out another one, and again, we can just kind of answer as you go. But since we are lucky enough to have the Small Business Development Center with us in this, how do they fit into the picture? What was the one thing that they provided to you? I know, Chris, you mentioned it, but what's the one thing they provided to you to help you along this journey that you're on right now?
They still do for us. I don't know what it is, the relationship with the other gentleman here, but for us, it's pretty much on at least a weekly basis. They've helped us introduce us to lenders to help build our new facility. I call or email or ask for advice as often as I can get it. And so it's an ongoing thing for us. Learning how to fix a lot of our processes, learning how to treat it like a real business, learning how to look at it like a CEO instead of just an employee for the business. Still something I'll be calling later this week for more advice, as much as I can get,
Our relationship with the SBDC and Harriet has got to be pushing almost 10 years now, right, Harriet? From that long ago. And it's kind of been pay-as-you-go sort of operation with us. We've not had really a consistent ongoing relationship with the SBDC, but we would just, as we developed and grew, always been reaching out to Harriet, whether it's talking about marketing plans or business plans or forecasting and all kinds, really about every dimension of the business. Just knowing that it's there and a phone call or an email away, it's been a great resource.
Yeah, I think for me, I kind of stumbled into the SBDC in the dark. I really didn't know anything about them. I went to a free class that was hosted at Kishwaukee Community College, and that's where I met Mr. Sommese, Dr. Sommese, and that kind of opened my eyes. I mean, up until then, I'm pretty much a one-man operation. My wife and I both run this business, but she's busy working on a PhD, so I've pretty much taken it on. And you don't, like you said earlier, you don't know what you don't know, and every idea you have is a great idea. And when you're by yourself, you don't figure out it's not a great idea until it's too late. So for me, it's the same thing. I think I use him as a springboard quite often. And
something I left out, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
that's right.
The most valuable thing was our business plan. I had downloaded apps. We had tried to write one hundreds and hundreds of times, called people, paid people, bought books, done so many different things. And I think I sat down with Harriet for about 2 hours, and she just kind of took a red pen, and a week later I actually had a legitimate business plan that looked like a normal thing. And so for us, that was a pretty tangible thing that was really helpful.
Yeah, which I think is really cool about the SBDC, because it's not just one thing. I mean, there's a lot of different resources available to you there that like I said, it opened my eyes.
I think that's what Norm was saying too, like taking advantage of the resources that are available to you. You don't even realize how much is actually available until you start sort of opening those doors.
Yeah,
and Sean,
it started locally. I introduced to our local Chamber of Commerce, going to some meetings there, and then even other business owners that had been involved. So whether it's the SBDC or a chamber or whatever, you don't really realize what's right in your backyard. Mm-hmm. So don't be afraid to step out there and meet other small business owners and let that world open up for you.
And Sean, if I could follow up, I always say the SBDC is one of the best kept secrets in the country, because there's over 1,000 throughout the United States. And the service that we actually provide at the SBDC, it doesn't cost the clients any money whatsoever. And so that is a positive thing. Now, if they're going to a workshop or something, there's usually a fee attached to that because we're not doing it. But all that expertise, all those introductions that we do, all that business planning help, all that marketing help is free to the client. And I'm just amazed that more businesses don't take advantage of what we're offering because of that. And then Norm kind of scared me when he said he's been with Harriet for 10 years, 10 or 15, Norm.
Now, we're probably getting near 10.
Okay.
For sure.
Buckle down.
I don't think I could take Garrett for that long a time.
Buckle down, buddy.
Well, it sounds like the relationships are really strong, and you wouldn't have had those relationships if you weren't a part of the SBDCs. What's the one thing to our businesses that you really, looking back on your start and where you are today, that if you would have known that before, you would have kept doing it over and over and over just to get faster success?
Well, for me, I'm in. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, like, figuring out processes and getting them on paper and figuring out ways to make sure you don't have as many bottlenecks. Even to this day, our whole business is way too many bottlenecks, but at least being aware of them. I wish I would have started looking at that a lot sooner. I wish I would have realized how much time is wasted on things that I could have figured out and the system is still earlier. So actually writing it down and knowing what you're actually doing sometimes, and most of the time you're so far in it that you don't even realize what you're doing. You don't even realize it. Maybe I'm running back and forth to the post office 6 times a day. Maybe I could save an extra 45 minutes by not doing that. Just simple things like that, and writing it down and making little flow charts and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, because you get laser focused on things. So yeah, for me, I don't. It's hard for me to say what I would doing that aspect, because I'm right in the middle of it. We're pretty much in our startup phase, so every day is a new kind of adventure on figuring out whether or not we're in the right track. So
I think I would have, or would, the word process to me, it's a double-edged sword. Now that we're doing more of them, they're fantastic, but thinking about putting them together gives me the shivers, because it can be a very painful process, but with great reward at the end. And, if you're starting out like a one-man show, I did, and we all seemed like we have, either in your living room or basement or whatever the case might be, to have that foresight, or to think that I better start writing this stuff down, because as we grow or somebody else comes on board, it's all locked up in your brain, and it's very difficult to extract it and give it to somebody else to then do, and then to create that process. So I've gone through some stuff even recently now of creating those processes. And it has made life a lot easier. So if I could hit the Wayback Machine and do that in year 2, it would have made year 10 a heck of a lot more fun.
But again, that's one of the resources you'll get from the SBDC. It's teaching you how to do that, because most of us, when we start out, we don't even know how to do it. You don't even know how to articulate what's going on in your head. You're just sort of doing it. So
Yeah.
through the trees.
And kind of to add on to what Chris is saying, I would say one of the things that we provide as a resource that's really kind of hard to articulate is that we're a sounding board, right? We're a place where a business can come and say, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm doing, this is what's working, this is what's not working. Like, a business doesn't have to come to us say, please help me write a business plan, or please help me do this or that. They can come to us and say, hey, I just want to talk about things, and have someone with experience ask me critical questions, give me feedback, and help kind of direct my path.
And based off what Harriet, what you just said, that's a good lead into our next question. It's like you've already read these questions, Harriet, but looking at all of what you are doing, operating small businesses, that's hard enough as it is. But what about something when you're operating during COVID? Something that nobody saw coming. So as if it weren't more difficult enough just to operate a small business on your own, how do you do it during COVID? What did you learn from that?
Well, for us, our plan in the very beginning was to do live events around the Chicagoland area. That was our whole kind of marketing plan. We didn't really have enough money to really go after a marketing plan. In our industry, you can't really do Google or Facebook ads or anything like that. So our plan was live events all along. So we were starting to build up a name for ourselves, and then COVID hit. Obviously, that shut down all of the live events, and was a pretty rough go for us. So again, being a one-man operation, made some choices that weren't really the best choices, was able to get a hold of Jock and bounce some stuff off of him. So now we have a better direction on where we want to go marketing wise. But for us, it was a pretty big hit for us in that regard.
I think on our end, even early on, it was, okay, let's not panic. Right? Let's just keep doing what we do and what we do well, and adjust on the fly. You take a nudge here and a bump there, but you still stay kind of within your guardrails, if you will, and moving forward. For us to say, especially on the electrical side, we were deemed essential through the whole COVID thing. So we weren't forced to interrupt our business, but certainly we did a fair amount of trade shows and home shows throughout the year too. And that's all been off the board. But again, for us was more just keep calm, move forward, follow where the market goes, and get stronger along the way.
We saw, honestly, we try to treat it all like an opportunity. I do credit my wife a lot for that. She's the more positive part of the operation. But one of the beauties, the perks of being a small business is your ability to pivot. And so we did take a couple days. So there was a little bit of panic in those first couple days when we started seeing everything closing down. And we realized, all right, well, we're not going down with the ship. We're going to figure it out. We're going to pivot. We're going to shift. We're going to move to an online thing. We've been wanting to do this. And we're going to pour some time and resources into making our online business. And so what used to be, I'd say 13% of our business ended up being closer to 80% of our business. So we just sort of flip-flopped it. We miss all of our live events. We miss getting out to the people. That was the number one part of our business. But some larger business, I would imagine, would have a much tougher time making a shift like that. That was one of the times where being a smaller business was a perk. It was easy to sort of make that adjustment really quickly.
Good.
So do you find the SBDC really helpful in those trying times where you were like, am I the only one going through all these problems? Did you reach out? Were there resources that you could find out if what you could do if you were the only one in the situation?
For us,
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
me too. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt everyone. I just wanted to tell. But, yeah, for us it was. For us, we were emailing and calling. That week we were trying to figure it out. And we didn't have a whole lot of experience shifting into a more of an online thing. So yeah, we looked into it right away. We were trying to figure it out. We were also in the process of trying to get a new facility that COVID sort of interrupted. And so figuring that out and trying not to let our numbers slip too far and making sure we stayed relevant and able to sort of, I wouldn't say thrive, but still do okay during the economy that was happening to us.
Yeah, I think Jock was a great resource, and sometimes I think I'm giving him a psychology degree through all of this because there was some panic. I'll be honest, I kind of panic on things probably don't need to anyway, but COVID and those events going down was a pretty big hit. But yeah, just having a calm mind, somebody who's been there through stuff before, maybe not COVID, but other things. And even just now for me, being a small business person that's in the startup phases, talking with Norm and Chris here is very encouraging for me because they're in different stages and of their journey. And it really was nice to hear that they all started off on their own, because you kind of feel like you're alone in that world. So even now this is a great opportunity, and this wouldn't have been available to me if it wasn't for the SBDC.
We really didn't seek out any COVID specific advice, but just the way our business was working and growing, we ended up doing, and Harriet was involved with some of this too, we ended up doing more internal work and adjusting and changing roles and things during this past year than we ever have in the midst of it. So it's been an interesting ride with that as well.
When COVID first happened, the SBA, had a lot of different programs, and the state had different programs, and they would push everything through the SBDCs. And in DeKalb specifically, we were doing seminars about things that you should do, whether with financing, with contacting your customers, with telling your employees. So we had a series of workshops that we tried to help businesses through with that. And to this day, we're still getting questions now with the second round of PPP coming in that, just for example, I asked Harriet the other day a couple of clarification questions because, well, she's smarter than me for starters. And there's just so much, you're drinking from a fire hose in the beginning. So
True. And yeah, I just want to also kind of, Chris sort of soft sold it, but Chris, through the whole COVID, Chris and Mary, they were about to finance a new facility right when COVID hit. So obviously that got derailed, and, really just pushing to make sure that their numbers stayed up where they needed to be and were able to actually get that financing done. And I think their new facility is currently under construction. So that's a real major accomplishment during COVID, Chris. So kudos to you for making that happen.
Well, we definitely thank you for some of the advice, and a lot of it too. I mean, it's sometimes it's just knowing someone's kind of on your team, knowing that, again, Garrick, it sounds like you do a lot of it on your own. It's just nice. It's how you can talk to everyone on the street. They don't understand what you're going through. You almost sometimes just need like a therapist, really. Someone understands what you're actually doing. Because seriously, your friends don't understand. Your parents don't understand. Your kids certainly won't understand. And so just knowing that you can every now and then just a phone call, here's what I'm going through. And someone that knows and has been through something like that, they can help talk you through it and just give you the sort of pep talk you need.
Yeah, that is always a fun one around the kitchen table. And after you've been doing it 5-6 years and your middle school kids say, I don't really know what my dad does.
Yeah, it's always working.
Yeah.
My kid today said, "Well, you're the boss, Dad. Why do you have to go to work? You can do what you want. You're the." I'm like, I work for everyone now, not just one person. Now I work for everyone. So I got to go.
So if there's some people watching this today and they're thinking about starting their own business, and I can already see the look on some of your faces, like how you would answer that. But what's the one thing that, besides calling the SBDC, what's one thing that you'd suggest to somebody that's thinking about starting their own business?
Well, a while ago, I was at another business function, and I had the speaker lay it out this way: that there's three kind of legs, if you will, to a small business owner or an entrepreneur's table. One of them is that entrepreneur that just really enjoys building businesses and building things up and making things happen for the excitement of it. The other person is, they call it talent, where you just really love what you do and you want to be hands-on and be in the trenches, if you will. And then the other portion of it is management, that you just like to oversee and run things. And they said the earlier you can figure out which one of those three you are, and then find the other two to help complete that circuit, if you will, it does wonders. So take a step back and say, okay, which part of this running a business do I really like, and then where are the resources that I can tap into to help me close that circle.
That's good advice.
I agree. For me, if anyone asks me personally, I always tell them you have to love it. People always ask me, usually, obviously, it's they want to start a product line of some sort. And I tell them, if you're in it for the money, you think you're going to get rich doing this, so don't do it. But if you love it, you truly love it, you have to be at it, it's something that burns inside you, that I would never take it back. I love every moment of what I do. And so that's how I would advise. But I have recently learned about the different types of business people there are. We certainly need to fill in a couple of those little spots that are lagging. We're still working on that and trying to learn that as well.
Yeah, again, I guess I would just reiterate that you got to have passion for what it is, because that's definitely going to drive you through when times are tough, and they're definitely going to be tough, and they're going to be tough a heck of a lot more than you think they're going to be. For me, I wrote everything down and had a bunch of numbers down and looked at the market, and I had a solid plan that I was going to make X number of dollars, and it didn't work out at all that way. And that's where passion kind of pushes you through, and you got to kind of regroup and figure it out. So definitely passion, I think.
I've had to learn over time how to make the financial part of it more of a priority. It was always
Excellent. Well, we have a few more minutes. Priorities, absolutely. So we have a couple of minutes left. So I guess I'll give the floor to Harriet and to Jock to say, I'm watching this. I want to start a business. I'm inspired. How do I reach out to the SBDC and get some information? Where do I start?
Go ahead, Jock.
Oh, no, this is yours because you have this memorized.
So you can call us or email us. We're working remotely right now, but we are totally able to assist you. You can email us at sbdc@waubonsee.edu or sbdc@kish.edu. I'm assuming, Sean and Steve, that you'll provide some contact information as a part of the recording for this, but email, call us, and we will get back to you and to help you direct you on the first steps.
I guess the only thing I would add is you don't need to be alone in this journey.
Sean, you want to
go ahead, Jock.
Okay. I was just going to say, you don't need to be alone in this journey. There are people here that'll help. And one of the things that's really nice is, coming to the SBDC, you also get the advantage of our network of people that we know that can help you also. And that's other people who are in their business right now, other SBDC clients, as well as people that are in lawyers, accountants, HR people, all those kinds of things. So we're a great resource. So use us.
I love it. Final thoughts, Sean Lowe.
Yeah, I think this is great. I mean, I own a small business myself, and not quite on the same scale that some of you guys do, but it's great to hear some of these things, especially if somebody's thinking about starting their own business. Talking and hearing right from entrepreneurs like yourself, I think really is going to benefit people down the road. So thank you guys for taking the time out today.
Thank you. I think one more thing I would add is not be afraid to fail.
Good advice.
Don't be afraid to fail. I like that attitude. That's a good mantra. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid.
Just again, there's so many resources, especially in our area where we are here in Illinois. Take advantage of them. They really are there. They're all here to help you. It's amazing. Sometimes you're like, what is their angle? Why are they helping me? They're all here to help. You know?
Well, thank you very much for joining us today. Our Small Business Development Workshop, our first one of hopefully many here in 2021. It will be living years and centuries to come in cyberspace on the 9 WDKB website here as soon as we get it posted. But again, to all of our guests today, thank you so much for joining us today, and carry on in 2021.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do we check out or is there an after party?
Yeah.